Welcome to the Edge of Tech, CTech's AI-generated studio, where we dive deep into the latest news and analyses on technology and innovation. Speaking of deep dives, we'll be looking into the funding landscape of Israeli tech this March. More than $822 million was raised in just 1 month, hitting a record high. We will then explore a new report on the resilience of the Israeli high-tech sector during the current conflict. Lastly, in a major business move, Pango is close to finalizing a $200 million acquisition of Gett. Stay tuned as we bring you these stories and more, right here on the Edge of Tech. I am Elihai Vidal, generated with AI. Joining us to discuss the significance of the news are Ariella Carmel and other guests, all generated with AI. Here we go. In March 2024, Israeli tech funding hit a record high with over $822 million raised in 20 deals. Ariella, can you tell us more about this surge?
The numbers are indeed impressive, Elihai. This month, Israeli startups managed to raise more funds than in January and February combined. The total surpasses last year's March funding by 45%, reaching over $822 million.
And what's interesting is that this surge was driven by 4 mega rounds, each exceeding $100 million. Can you dive into the companies leading this growth?
Absolutely. Exonius took the lead with a massive $200 million Series E round. Clarity, FundGuard, and Coro also made headlines, each securing $100 million in funding. Moreover, after a series of early-stage rounds in January and February, March saw the return of growth rounds, with 5 deals reaching Series C or later stages.
It's truly been an eventful month for Israeli tech funding. For a full list of the March deals, check out our website. The list includes funding rounds of over $5 million that were officially announced during March. Coming up next, a deep dive into Israeli high-tech's resilience during the conflict, with $3.1 billion raised and $3.7 billion in M&As. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now we're diving into Israeli high-tech resilience during these challenging times. A new report by Startup Nation Central reveals remarkable numbers. $3.1 billion raised and $3.7 billion in M&As since the start of the war. Ariella, the last 6 months have been challenging for Israel. What is the significance of this report to the Israeli high-tech sector?
Elihai, these numbers show the industry's resilience. Despite 15% of the workforce being in IDF reserves and the air blockade, Israeli startups continue to attract investments and thrive.
Yes. Now, looking at the investment trends, what stood out to you in the last 6 months?
Well, the numbers are quite telling. Since October 7th, 220 private investment rounds were announced, totaling $3.1 billion. Cybersecurity with $1.1 billion and fintech and corporate software with $500 million each are leading sectors.
And how about mergers and acquisitions? Were there any notable transactions?
Absolutely. The M&A market was bustling, especially in cybersecurity, with $3.7 billion in transactions. Interestingly, the largest and only exit reaching $1 billion came from a very non-high-tech sector, the sale of mattress marketer Resident for $1 billion.
Interesting. According to the report, 9 companies were sold for over $100 million since the war began. How do you think this will impact the industry in the long run?
It's a valid concern. While short-term successes are promising, the long-term question is whether Israel will continue developing technology or settle for early-stage sales.
That's certainly a concern we'll keep our eye on. Thank you, Ariella, for your insights into Israeli high-tech's resilience and growth in challenging times. Coming up next, a major business move. Pango is on the verge of completing a $200 million acquisition of Gett. Don't miss the details. And now, Pango is on the verge of completing a $200 million acquisition of Gett. This deal is set to reshape the transportation services landscape. Ariella, this acquisition seems significant. Can you tell us why?
Elihai, this acquisition is significant not only for Pango, known for its digital parking services app, but also for Gett, a taxi and transportation services company. This move will undoubtedly reshape the market landscape, bringing together two key players in their respective fields.
That's interesting. Now let's delve deeper. Matteo De Renzi, the CEO of Gett, is in Israel finalizing the deal. What does this tell us about the current status of the acquisition?
The fact that Matteo De Renzi is in Israel indicates that the acquisition is in its final stages. Gett's shareholders are set to receive about 700 million shekels for all of the company's shares, including cash reserves of about 140 million shekels.
Pango's unique profitability rate and its minimal use of funds for the acquisition make this deal particularly noteworthy. Can you shed some light on Pango's financials and how they play into this acquisition?
Absolutely. Pango's financial results are quite remarkable. Despite being smaller than Gett in terms of revenue, Pango's profitability rate is very high. For every 100 shekels of revenue, Pango records a profit of 33 shekels. This, coupled with its control over 80% of the parking payments market in Israel, makes Pango a strong contender in this acquisition.
Interesting. Looking ahead, what can we expect from this acquisition in terms of the merged company's operations and management?
The merged company is expected to maintain Gett's transportation activity under the Gett brand and separate management, at least initially. Pango's app is likely to add transportation and delivery services to its wide range of car services.
Fascinating insights, Ariella. Thank you for joining us and providing your expertise on this breaking news. Stay tuned for more updates. That concludes today's edition of The Edge of Tech, CTech's AI-generated studio. Thanks for tuning in. For more high-tech news, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews, head over to CTech website, your gateway to Israeli tech.